What's up, y'all? I'm the analyst. 2011. Missed a lot in like a week or two at the end of 2010 leading up to 2011. That's what this is going to be about. I'm just going to try and cover a whole lot of things. Just the big stuff. What's the big stuff that happened? Let's just get this out of the way. Chow Sonnen, go do something, man. Figure yourself out. This guy talks so much trash. He's got 2 jobs. They said he cheated in the UFC. And then he went and filed, pleaded guilty to money laundering or something crazy. Like, man, come on, man. I don't know what it was. It doesn't matter. It had to do with his real estate stuff. Man, you only have 2 jobs. And you're talking mad junk in the UFC. What if you would have won against Anderson Silva? Then they strip you of the title, kick you out for 6 months. Then you come back, talk some more junk about whoever. They set up the fight against Sexyama. And then the very next day, the cat came back. It was... Now you got to take more time off. Dana's froze your contract. You need to go. Stop with the trash talk. That's it. When you F up your only 2 jobs, that's it. That's it. That's it. You're no longer the running for anything. You dropped out of that so you could do something else. Figure out your life, man. Step your life game up. That's what they say. That's what you need to do. Don't even talk about Chow Sonnen. Anybody. Let's just get that out of the way. UFC 125, what I thought was going to be an okay event, with a main event that was going to be a little lackluster in the entertainment department. Once again, I mean, look, obviously if I tell you, let's say, Gray Maynard is going to be fighting another wrestler, you're going to be like, oh man, that's going to be boring. And you have the right to think that, just like if I tell you Shogun is going to be fighting Rampage. Oh man, that's going to be exciting. It seems like whenever somebody says something's going to be boring or the card's going to suck, everybody goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. Anything can happen though. Anything can happen. It could be great, which is true. But like saying anything can happen is stupid, because anything can happen means anything cannot happen, which means anything is possible, which means the possibility of nothing is possible. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't really mean anything. But when people say something's going to be amazing, everybody goes, oh yeah, and nobody goes, hold on. But it might not be that amazing. Anyways, I thought it was going to be weak. If I would have put a video up, man, I would have been eating crow until 2012. But whatever, you know. Frank Edgar, Takanori, go on me. I want to talk about that in a minute. Gray Maynard comes out there and just puts the left hook over top of Frankie Edgar's right hand, which is here. It's not up here. He's going out there doing it, but keeping his hand here. Boom, dropped. And looked like he was doing the Brock Lesnar dance, but he has skills though. So it was actually, the first one was kind of like he fell and he kind of did his little push up back to his feet thing, like I don't need to fall down. But that probably caused more problems, because then he was dropped again, pushed around, stumbling. I mean, man, the referee was nice. He said, I'm gonna let you try and get out of this, little man. I'm not gonna bust you up right now, because I could stop this here. I could stop it again here. I could stop here. Really, if that wasn't a 10-7 round, then there's no such thing as a 10-7 round in MMA. Simple as that. Obviously, in a 3-round fight, if you give somebody a 10-7 round, you basically give them a fight. The fight's over, unless the other guy finishes. But really, he got destroyed. And the reason why we never see something like a 10-7 round is because 10-7 rounds end up with somebody getting knocked out. Like, most knockouts are are brutal and they happen right away. And if somebody happens to maybe survive, then maybe it's a 10-8 round because but if they don't survive for 5 minutes, oh man. Anyways. And then the rest of the fight was pretty close. Round 2 was pretty much guaranteed Frankie Edgar. Rounds 3, 4, and 5 on a first glance, man, it could be, it could go either way. So I can't really hate on anything that the judges did with this fight. If the judges want to give this fight to Gray Maynard, I can see where that comes from. You give Gray Maynard the 10-8 first round. You give him the 3rd round. And then some people give him the 5th round. If you want to give Frankie Edgar every single round except for the 1st round, I can understand that too. So you give Frankie Edgar the fight. Or you give a 10-8 round to Gray Maynard. You give Gray Maynard the 3rd round. And you give Frank Edgar the other 3. That's a draw. I can't hate. When the fight was done, I was like, hey, a draw? The only thing is that sucks for Pettis. He's not going to get a shot. So there you go. Let me adjust this a little crack-a-lackin'. All right. So great fight. I mean, 5 rounds, back and forth. Really good fight. Simple as that. Good job, Frank Edgar. Good job, Gray Maynard. I guess they're slated to potentially fight at UFC 130. So UFC 129 is April 30th. So sometime in May or something like that. Anyways, Chris Lieben got knocked out being Chris Lieben. I mean, Chris Lieben, his skill set is his skill set. And he's good enough to beat certain people. He's good enough to beat Brian Stan. But he's not smart enough to beat certain people. He'll just go out there and do what he does. Against Anderson Silva, he's going to get smashed because he just doesn't have the skill set. He will never land a punch on Anderson Silva. Not a real one. And same thing with certain other guys. They'll just take him down and beat him. But a guy like Brian Stan, if he wants to win that fight, he can win that fight. But he wants to be Chris Lieben. You can't knock me out. I can knock you out. And you were wrong. Brandon Vera pieced out. Gone from the UFC. Don't believe the truth. Believe what you see. All right. I believe what I saw and what I've been seeing. And if you really want my honest opinion, all the MMA dudes out there, Brandon Vera was the king or the next to the throne at a time when we remember the UFC heavyweight division was a piece of trash. He beat Frank Mir when Frank Mir was horrible. He beat Asuario Silva. He ain't even in the UFC anymore for a reason. Not like these other cats that are in the UFC. Justin Eilers, what's that? Fabio Scherner, what's that? Mike Whitehead, that's WEC. Look, these guys are not anywhere near the level of the heavyweights or the light heavyweights that exist right now. So he was ready to get his title shot, took a year off, got to his head. He was only 8-0 at the time, fought Tim Sylvia, and we saw what we see every time. If Brandon Vera is not going to win that fight, he's not going to change. There is no kind of urgency in him. That's it. Lost to Tim Sylvia in a horrible fight. Fabricio Verdum TKO'd him. They tried to hype him up against Reese Andy. Come on now. I think Reese Andy might still be in the UFC. Then he lost to Keith Jardine. I predicted that one. Defeated Mike Pat, another gimme fight. Krzysztof Szynski, I thought he'd lose that. Fought Randy Couture, thought he would lose that. John Jones, come on now. Now, he dropped down to light heavyweight because these heavyweights are too much for him now. And now Thiago Silva, man, he'll never be a champ. No matter what he does, if he goes back, gets his mind right, whatever, he's not as good as it takes. He will never be a light heavyweight top 10. He'll never be a heavyweight top 10. He'll never be a champion. He's gone. He will be back if the UFC goes to the Philippines. Dong Hyun Kim against Nate Diaz. Whatever. Good fight. Some people thought Diaz won. Nate Diaz is just a little too content to lay on his back and let people throw punches while he tries to go for submissions. Clay Guida versus Takanori Gomi. Worst first round of striking, if that's what you want to call that, I've ever seen in my life. That pissed me off what Clay Guida was doing. There are so many different styles of striking. And in each style of striking, there are multiple ways to avoid getting hit by a punch. None of them are what the F Clay Guida was doing. Clay Guida is a world-class athlete. By that, I mean he actually has the ability to go out there and train hard and fight and never get tired. I mean, that takes a lot. And he's not like he's too old to learn new tricks. If you don't want to get punched by and it worked, but it doesn't mean that it's right. It doesn't mean that it's a good job. You can avoid getting punched in the head so many different ways other than whatever the F he was doing. And it looked even, I mean, come on, man. Anybody watch that fight, they'd be like, I don't know what the F this is. If this is supposed to be a sport, then I'm a champion in my own little whatever. In the end, Takanori Gomi didn't have what it took. He kept doing his thing, throwing little body blows at air or whatever. It's too bad. I would have picked Clay Guida to win. I would have picked Dong Hyun Kim to win. I would have picked Thiago Silva to win. I would have picked Chris Lieben to win. And I would have picked Frankie Edgar to win. Undercard, was there anything? Phil Brony got knocked out. Nothing else really worth talking about. Marcus Davis is cut. For all y'all telling people to fight, fight entertaining. Da-da-da-da-da. Take a look at Marcus Davis. This guy fought for the title shot. This guy has like 4 knockout or whatever fight of the nights. A vet always was ready to do what the UFC wanted him to do, but when it came to you gotta win, and he didn't win. Mike Brown lost. The lightweight division, the featherweight and the bantamweight division. This is why I have a big problem with people being in pound for pound lists when they're in the featherweight or the lightweight division. It's just weak. The divisions are shallow. There's like a really good guy like Jose Aldo, then a few contenders, but they're not even on that level because it was the WEC. I'm just talking about over here. In Japan, you've got their own people. Now they're all coming over here. But you've got so many guys who, I don't know, they're just getting fights in the WC because there's nobody else and they're popular and they draw. But when it comes down to it, there's so many guys out there that could still beat him, that could still give him problems. You had him losing. You had homeboy Grispy losing in his fight. And he was supposed to get a title shot that same very night. I mean, don't put these light guys on pound for pound lists until there's at least 6 solid guys in each division, and that's just not the case. Well, Jose Aldo can stay on it, but anybody else, Cruz, any of those guys, man, they don't belong on it. Simple. Antonio McKee. Let's go over the Dynamite real quick. Bibiano Fernandez versus Takaya. Takaya won that fight. Good fight. I watched this foolishness from 4 a.m. to 11 a.m. Man, that's craziness. Kawajiri did a great job over Josh Thompson. I'd like to see him in Strikeforce in the early 2011. Sakurai lost to Jason High. Pretty average fight at best. Zaromskis ripped off Sakuraba's ear. Ishii, I think he overstayed his welcome in Japan. I mean, he's supposed to be all this whatever, and even the Japanese people are booing him, and he's from Japan, and he's an Olympian. Oh my gosh. Alistair Overeem, 19 seconds. Good Lord. 19 seconds. One knee, landed a short right, landed a quick left, and Todd Duffy, all that muscle just became jello, just folded over itself. Crazy. Aoki, oh my goodness. What was that? For those who don't know, or maybe you haven't seen it, go check it out. This is one of my favorite fighters. It was a special rules thing. First round was K1. He was fighting against Nagashima. He's a K1 fighter. It was going to be striking only. He completely disrespects that first round. He's doing jump kicks and flailing on the ground and grabbing guys' back, almost going for takedowns, doing anything he can to get through the 3-minute first round. Gets through the 3-minute first round. Second round, he's like, this mine now, buddy. Gotcha, sucker. I'm going to just walk over and just knocked out. Flying knee, laziest takedown attempt I've ever seen. Paid for it. I mean, does anybody really think that he can't get knocked out by a flying knee from a K1 fighter? Of course he can. And if this was a regular mixed martial arts fight, that may have happened right away in the first round. I don't know. Does this have any effect on his ranking or what we know or don't know about Aoki? Absolutely not. We know he can get knocked out. We know he's a fool. We know he's cocky and ridiculous. And we know that a kickboxer can throw a flying knee. What do we want? I mean, it is crazy and ridiculous, but it is what it is. Anything else worth talking about? I don't think so. I think that's it. If you guys want to know what I think about this Strike Force Grand Prix that they're putting on in 2011, go to whotheman.com. I've got a video up there, or at least I should by the time you guys are seeing this. I'll be back on point for the rest of these shows. MMA, y'all, it's important. And by shows, I meant cards. And by cards, you know what I'm talking about. Peace. Oh, yeah. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Hanukkah. Kwanzaa. And everything else other than Happy Holidays, because that's some bogus doo-doo. Merry Christmas. Merry the day Jesus Christ was born, even though it's not the same day. Ha. Peace.